This is How to Improvise Jazz 101, a complete and comprehensive guide on everything that you need to learn in order to improvise. My name is Paul Tobey. I am a professional jazz musician and recording artist for many years. I feel that many of the videos that you see on YouTube and even in private instruction, you don't necessarily get all of the elements that are necessary in order to improvise properly. I know how intimidating it can feel, so it's good to break it down into small steps. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. We're going to be using sheet music in this video, and at the end, I'll share the link where you can download it. It has all of the exercises that you're going to need. And then I'll also give you a link to further resources if you want to continue past this. Obviously, it's not going to be completely possible to understand how to improvise in one video, so it's nice to know that there are resources, especially here on the Jazz Mental channel, that you can refer to keep going. In order to start this process, we're going to keep everything in the key of C for now. It's the easiest key. There's no sharps, there's no flats, and it's good to stick to this one key for now until you understand the concepts. So in a simple C major scale, there are 7 notes, and then the root is repeated. The root being C, it's repeated up here on top. So there's really only 7 notes, and each note has a number. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to 1. Jazz is built on a series of fifths, meaning circle of fifths. That means that if you started on C and you went down a fifth, that's an F. If you went down a fifth in the key of C, that's B, and then E, A, D, G, and then back to C. That's called circle of fifths, diatonic circle of fifths, meaning there are no notes outside the scale and everything descends by a fifth. Out of that, we get something called a 2-5-1. D to G, down a fifth, to C. That progression is very common in jazz. It represents about 80% of everything that you need to know. And of course, jazz is a series of chord progressions, and the most common progression is a 2 minor 7th chord. And the reason for that is if we start on 2 and we build our chord in tertian harmony, which is built in thirds, it's 1, 3, 5, and 7. You can see all of those notes are from the key of C. Then we go to G, 1, 3, 5, 7. That's a dominant chord. And then C, 1, 3, 5, and 7. So a 2-5-1 progression is also known as a cadence. It's basically a series of chords that lead to a pleasing sound. A floating chord, which leads to a dominant chord because it contains a tritone, and then to our 1 major 7th chord. If you were to put a fifth in front of D minor 7 for circle of fifths, you'd start on A minor. This is called the 6th chord. So 6, 2, 5, 1. And of course, everything I just played is here on the lead sheet. This is 6, 2, 5, 1. That's called circle of fifths. It's going down a fifth each time. And of course, you don't want to jump around the keyboard like this. If you're comping in the left hand, and that's what it means when you play chords and then solo in the right, you don't want to jump from this chord to this chord and then to this chord. So what you do is you create inversions of those chords so that you're going from 2 minor 7 or D minor 9th, it contains a 9th here, move 1 note becomes G13, move 2 notes on the outside and becomes C major 13. And that's a really good chord progression and voicing in order to comp for yourself. For example, if we were to solo over that quickly, And the same thing, if you wanted to do 6-2-5-1, you would start on this inversion of A minor 9 to D minor 9 to G13 to C major 13. Now comes the really fun part. It's the improvisational part. That's the part where we add the right hand, and usually eighth notes, sometimes triplets. We're making nice rhythms with the right hand, but it's important to understand what notes to play. If we take a look at the sheet music, the goal is to first arpeggiate the chords. So we're going to put down our D minor 9 chord in the left hand, and in the right hand, we're going to play the chord. 3, 5, 7, and 9. So what you would do is, in front of that, we're going to approach it by a half step or a semitone. And then you're going to do that for each of the chords, a half step below the third of the chord. So if the third of the chord for G7 is B, we're going to approach that from a half step below. And then we're going to do the same for C major 13. And then if you put that together, notice how the left hand is using those voicings that we learned in step 1. So once again, you're approaching the third of the chord from a half step below. So E goes to F. Same here, B flat goes to B natural. And then the same thing here, D sharp goes to the E. The next step is to arpeggiate that with something called the bebop rhythm. This is where jazz bebop gets its name. It's a rhythm which starts on the beat and finishes off the beat. The bebop in each of these is here. This is what's going to give it that signature jazz sound. Bebop. And so what you want to do with that line is you want to learn to start to comp in the left hand on the and of 4, the and of 2, and then always this chord approaches the next chord. So this is again the and of 4, and so on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, I'm going to post a link to this sheet music at the end, so stick around for that. And the next step in this process is to learn the bebop scales. You've probably heard that term before. The reason why we need them is because it creates 8-note scales instead of 7. So if we were to play a D minor 7 scale, which is essentially a Dorian scale, you don't necessarily need to know that for now. So it starts on the second note of the scale. Of course, we're still in the key of C, so this is 1, this is 2, so second note of the scale. That's a D minor scale. Now, the problem with that is it only contains 7 notes. In order to even it out, jazz people came up with the concept of adding an extra passing note, which in the case of D minor is an F sharp. So that evens it out. 8 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you get back to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you played this comping in the left hand, it sounds like this. And then when we move on to our G13 scale, because we've got this voicing, which contains the 9th and the 13th, you get a passing note, which is here, F sharp or G flat, and of course this note is natural. So it's exactly the same passing note as D minor 7, except it's in a different place. If you've ever heard a sound like this, right? Bebop, okay? That comes directly from the bebop scale. And then if we move the sheet music down a little bit, we get to the major bebop scale, and that uses this note as the passing note, which is the sharp 5. What I would encourage you to do is practice all of those scales in sequence. So just to recap, we've done arpeggios with our right hand. And of course, we've got that semitone pickup. And then we added bebop. And then what we did is we learned our bebop scales. The only other thing you really need is something called enclosures. Enclosures are basically passing notes that surround chord tones. What is a chord tone? And of course, in D minor, our chord tones are 1, 3, 5, and 7. So then take a look at the sheet music. These are 2-note enclosures on chord tones. So if the chord tones are this, you want to approach it from a half step below the chord tone and then use the note from the scale above. So again, the E is from the scale. And then to approach the third of the chord, which is here, you want a half step below and then from the scale above. Same thing with our fifth of the chord, half step below from the scale above. And then the next one ends on the 7th. Then you want to do the same thing with G13. Here are our chord tones, 1, 3, 5, and 7. And so our 2-note enclosures are. And then finally, for our C major chord, this is the chord tones here, 1, 3, 5, and 7. So then if you improvise, you're doing a combination of arpeggios and then also our bebop scale. And then you want to start to add enclosures. So that's 2-note enclosures. Now we want to do 4-note enclosures, which is one of the most useful things. So what this does is it starts a half step below the chord tone and then goes to the note of the scale and then descends by a half step back to the original note, which is a half step below, back to 1. And you get a sound like this. So the chord tone is obviously 1 of D minor. So then when you start to improvise, you can use your arpeggios and finish with an enclosure. And then finally, in order to improvise freely, you want to join the arpeggios, your bebop scales, and your enclosures together. And I've given you a quick example of how this sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course, we ended on our signature bebop sound. The only other thing that I would say about improvising in the right hand is to not just use eighth notes. You also want to use triplets and sometimes sixteenths in order to break up the rhythms. So then you might get a sound like this. And then in addition to that, think about jazz like speech. You're making phrases and often sentences out of phrases. So little short bursts of lines separated by a breath. And there really wasn't anything in that quick improvisation except the things that we've talked about in this video. So let's say you truly want to freely improvise. What should you do next? Let's put a link to the sheet music from today's lesson. It's up here in the corner. It's also in the description below. Go ahead and download that. It just takes an email address. So now you're thinking, hey, I really like this jazz improv thing. I really want to get good at it. I might not be able to grasp all of the concepts yet. I just need a bit more instruction. Well, I have a 10-week course. It's complete with video instruction and downloadable sheet music like the sheet music you're downloading today. And it's a very fun course and very popular. So let me put a link to that course up here in the corner. It's also in the description below. And on your screen, you'll see a coupon code to save $10. And the course is also 100% guaranteed. That means after 7 days, if you're not completely satisfied, you can just simply ask for a complete refund. And if you're still not convinced, then I have another video which is a complete description of what's in the course. You might want to check out that video next. Here's a link right here.